Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and this is Walsh Wednesday. And thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of the Walsh Wednesday concert series. New location, new haircut, and another new artist. We have with us this week singer-songwriter, colleague, and friend Valerie Barbosa. Thank you very much for coming on, Valerie.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. So, before we really even get into the music, I hear that you are a fan of dress-up. You love wigs, you love just outfits. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
So I feel like my passion for dressing up kind of never stopped. Even when I was a kid, I was always playing with dolls, always dressing up as a princess. I would do paintings in the house and pretend I was Princess Belle. And as the years went on, I still had a passion for dress up. I loved vintage clothes. Most of my clothes are vintage or thrifted. And then I started getting into more of like the makeup and the wigs and the kind of old Hollywood glamour, but like to an exaggerated extent.
Of course.
And a more like modernized extent. But I love dressing up for shows. It's just, it adds to the element of just performance itself. Like when you think of artists like Prince or David Bowie, even like Michael Jackson. I mean, I wouldn't go that far in that extent, but it's always been an element of performance. It's always been a very prominent thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you were also saying like vintage and I think you even might have said old Hollywood. Like, have some of like those kind of classic movies influenced you at all too?
Oh,
just
definitely. Definitely. I used to, for many years, and I still do actually, I would watch vintage movies with my mom, old black and white ones with like, you know, Vivian Leigh, actresses like her and like Liz Taylor, all that. I loved watching Gone with the Wind. A lot of people might say Gone with the Wind is a boring movie.
It's a great movie.
But okay, it is a great movie, and the costumes, extravagant, beautiful. But I just became obsessed with all of that, and yeah, that's where I kind of got that root of that inspiration from.
Well, Gone with the Wind, that's just a revolutionary film altogether. But no, that's really awesome. That's cool that you're able to take away from that. So now do you think that you might be able to tell us about some of your inspirations when it comes to your music now specifically?
Definitely. So I have drawn a lot of inspirations from various sources. I listen to many different kinds of music. The genre I listen to least probably is country, though, but that's partly because I grew up in the country and it ruined it for me. But in general, I would say like my biggest influence of all time, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac. They were just here in Albany. Didn't get to see them, tragically. But yes, Stevie Nicks, Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, all of the older rock singers from that era have really influenced me because a lot of the time, like, women didn't really have a spot in rock or just, like, in the music limelight in the industry. And, like, having a woman as, like, a front to a band or just any of that was really extraordinary, and that's something that really inspired me. In addition to such things like Motown and Diana Ross, going into, once again, the dress-up, the glamour, that kind of is in correlation with that. So those are some of my influences. And then I would say, like, musically, instrumentally, probably shoegaze music and dream pop, like artists like Beach House, Slow Dive, that kind of realm of things. But I'm still trying to find my own unique sound because I don't want to sound like I'm copying them or emulating them. Yes, I'm inspired by them, but I want to also have a signature sound that is identifiable as, oh, that's Valerie Barbosa, or oh, that's This Strange Paradise. You know what I mean?
Amen.
That kind of thing.
No, I feel you on that. I remember talking to a friend of mine saying how like chord progressions will be taken over again and again and again. It's what you do with it that makes it your own, and I'm glad that you're really recognizing that. Is there anything that you want to talk about the songs that you performed for us today?
Well, the song that I did, I'm not sure the order you're putting it in, but the more upbeat song is called Alice, and I do that with the band, and it's the lyrics are in reference to, like, you know, the book, like Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass, and the film itself, because I watched that a lot as a kid, and I had such a big imagination. But the song itself, lyrically, is about seeing a girl at a party or seeing someone at a party and you think, oh, wow, this person is just gorgeous. This person is everything. And it's not even looks. Maybe you know the person personally. And you see them and it's just pure light. And that's kind of what the song is about, is seeing this person, just being taken aback by them, and then the reaction to it, like, I'm sinking down. Should I like break down the lyrics or like some of the inspirations behind it?
If you want to, yeah.
Well, there are some drug references in the song too, but that's also in correlation to the book.
Well, yeah.
Because like
the author was out of his mind.
I mean, the whole story has drug references in it, but the song's literal meaning doesn't necessarily have to be about like being on drugs. But it's mainly just about seeing someone and being taken aback by whether it be their beauty or their intellect or just like their whole person, and just the reaction to that.
Neat.
That's kind of what it's about.
How about the other song that you did for us?
The other song is called Hands, and that song has a lyric in it in the chorus to say, just to be in your company is honeysuckle sweet. And I always reference that because to write that lyric, I was thinking, like, what is a interesting plant that I can like incorporate, like a metaphor? And honeysuckle, actually, every part of the plant is poisonous, I believe, except for the nectar. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that like every part of it is poisonous. So I used that as an allusion to like, to be in someone's company is honeysuckle sweet. You can have someone in your life, but they may not be there forever. They may just be like a temporary thing. It may not last, like whether it's a romantic, in this case, in what I was writing about was a romantic relationship, but it could be a friendship too, any kind of relationship. But just you're enjoying the time you have with them, but you know it's not going to last forever, whether it's a breakup or, you know, who knows what's going to happen, but it's just, you know, your time is coming to an end, and you're living on this honeymoon phase, this high of things are so great, but it's about to all just come to a crashing end, and that's kind of what the song's about. But it's kind of, ironically, it's kind of a slow ballad type song, so you don't really get that vibe, but that's what I was going for when I was writing it. It was the whole, you know, reflecting back on your times with somebody after it's over and thinking, like, to be in that person's company is honeysuckle sweet. So, like, the choruses are kind of in present tense, and then the verses are more reflective, looking back on the relationship, or whether it be, I mean, it could be interpreted in many ways. Like, I write my songs with hope that people can take them in their own perspective, I guess, like, and relate their own experiences to it, not just my own, you know?
Very well said, and definitely great messages to go across lives, the world. Everything is ever changing, so that's definitely an important message to relay and remind people of. Kind of going back in your life a little bit, how did you get started with music in the first place?
Get started with music. Well, I was a theater kid in high school and middle school, but that doesn't really count. And I started singing. I was always writing. That was the main thing. I was always writing. And I would sing, but I didn't think that I was good. And then one day, actually, this funny story, in chorus class, like in a choir, my teacher had me sing like a solo. She was forcing everyone to do it. And she was like, talk to me after class. And I was like, oh no, I must have been so bad. Oh no, oh no. And then she's like, you should consider getting voice lessons. And then that kind of was the day that it all changed. And then I started taking it really seriously, and it became a passion of mine, because art has always been a passion of mine, but music became the replacement to that. Like, I started focusing more on music and where I was going to go with it. So that's kind of where it all started. But I am not really an instrumentalist by any means. Wish I was. Jealous of the people that can play 9 instruments, but mostly a vocalist and songwriter, trying to be an instrumentalist, or a better one.
It's all good. You got to start somewhere. You work it up, and but that's cool. Like, that's really awesome when you can go back to that one moment that kind of like really switched it all into gear for you. That's really neat. So, lastly, I just really wanted to talk about upcoming projects that people can look forward to. Yourself, and you're also in a band, correct?
Yes. It's called This Strange Paradise. We're kind of a dreamy rock band with a lot of influence of shoegaze and also like the 1975. But we're also finding our own sound still. Like, we're kind of, finally, we're getting into the groove as a band, where we're deciding what we want to do with it, where we want to take it. We're really excited. We're actually starting an EP now. That's going to be out, not sure when, but stay posted.
It's in the works.
Yeah, it's in the works. And I am working on an album right now, just individually, because, as you know, I was a music industry major. Then I switched out of that, so I don't have the opportunity to do the senior album project. So I'm kind of doing it myself, DIY, as they say. And it's going to be called Voices from the Attic, and it's kind of a metaphor for my mind. I feel like my mind just has so much going through it all the time. I also am somebody that has a lot of anxiety about life in the future, and, you know, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Are these, like, good friends to me? Like, where's my place in society? All these things. It's just, all those ideas, all those anxieties, all those concerns, like wrapped up in an album basically. And it's going to be, I'm featuring like a lot of interludes. I even have, I went to France last year and I took a recording of a cathedral and people walking around, people speaking in French, like just different sound. And I'll incorporate that into my music and my album. Like I've incorporated just a lot of random sounds, random effects that I had and I just wanted to use. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly like where it would fit. Probably like alternative realm, but most of it will probably be just like me, a guitar, and some really dreamy effects. I'm not sure exactly yet, and maybe some bass and drums.
Really stripped down and really
Very
you.
Yeah, focusing on like the lyrics. And I do a lot of layered harmonies just with more and more and more tracks. Like sometimes there'll be like 15 tracks of just my voice, and I can't do that live unless I had a loop pedal or something, unfortunately. But in the album I really want to showcase that kind of quality that I like to use.
That's awesome. It sounds like we got a lot to look forward to. Everybody check out Valerie Barbosa.
Thank you.
You're on Facebook, right?
Yes.
And you're on SoundCloud, correct?
Yep.
Any other places people can find your stuff?
Not right now, but soon we will. And This Strange Paradise is also on Instagram, Facebook, and soon to be SoundCloud and Bandcamp.
All right. Check them all out. Valerie, again, thank you very much for coming on.
Much.
Really appreciate it.
Where do you wanna go? I said wherever you want.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, I'm Connor Walsh,
I'm Valerie Barbosa.
and we're very glad we got to
Spend some time with you.